In this video, I'm going to explain the exact Facebook ads structure and strategy that you should use if you run ads for a jewelry brand. And I'm doing this after spending over $2 million on Facebook ads, specifically for jewelry brands. As you can see here on my screen, this is just one ad account of one of our jewelry brand client for our agency. And as you can see here, we have spent $2.3 million within a period of 3 years. And just to give you some references, 80% of the budget was spent into the US market. And also the AOV of this brand is $110 US. Why is it important to mention the AOV is because being said that we've been running ads in the US market, the CPM are quite high, and so the AOV also needs to be high enough to cover, of course, the cost of the ads and be profitable, ideally on the first purchase, as we were here. Okay, so what we're gonna cover in this video? In this video, I'm going to cover the best Facebook ads strategy, the best Facebook ads account structure, and the best ad creatives that you should run. I'm not going into details for the best ad creatives for jewelry brands specifically because I want to create another video about it, but I'm going to give you some details, some hints, some insights, and I will specifically be talking about the type of creatives and how to structure the creatives within the ad account, the campaigns, and so on. When it comes to the Facebook ad strategy, there are some common roadblocks, let's say some questions that people ask themselves, and those questions usually are like, where to drive traffic, to the homepage, to the collection page, how many SKUs should I promote, like should I run ads for, should I focus my budget on all products or just some collections, how to divide the different campaigns, should I use Advanced Shopping Plus, CBO, IBO, should I use statics, videos, carousel, collection, how to split them and everything. And we have tested everything, so no worries about it, and I'm going to actually go through all these questions, all these roadblocks. I'm going to show the exact structure and the exact process, the strategy that you should use, and answer all these questions. If you want me to have, like, to cover specifically about the video, about the creatives that you should use and run when you have a jewelry brand, then let me know in the comments, so I will actually make a video about it. Okay, let's jump into two different ad scenarios. So we have two different scenarios. The first one for brands that are spending less than 10K a month. The second one for brands that are spending between 10 and 50,000 US dollar a month. And then the third for brands that have a budget higher than 100K a month. Now, what is important to mention here, the reason why we usually divide, the reason why we need to divide this into the three different scenarios is because the strategy that you should use and the structure that you should use for brands that have less than 10K a month budget, between 10 and 50K and 100K, are kind of different. I don't want to say completely different, but they are different. And so, yeah, for this reason, in this video specifically now, I'm going to cover the first two. Not going to cover this one because otherwise this video is going to be too long, and this is actually quite complex. So let's move forward. What we need to consider. First thing we need to consider is, do we have a clear product or clear like bestseller that we want to promote? If we have 20% of the products that are generating 80% of the revenue, then okay, we can start focusing on these products. What about the collection? Same things apply for the collections. Then, do you have a theme for your brand, or like a unique selling proposition for your jewelry brand, or you're just focusing on brand and design, like on brand image and brand perception and design? Because these two different things also changes in terms of like the creatives that you should run. Then, do you run promotion for your brand? Usually, you should have one promo every 3 months. This is like what we suggest, what we found works very well. And you also need to consider seasonalities, and all these things are going to affect the way that you need to structure that ad account for your Facebook ads. Cool, let's start with the scenario number one. So since scenario number one is just a getting starting phase where you're spending less than 10,000 US dollar a month, and this structure here is optimized for return on ad spend, not for scalability. So this does not include any cost cap or bid caps at this stage. Because at this stage, what we want to do, we want to make sure that we are spending money, okay, because we need to get traction. At the same time, though, we need to get high return on ad spend. Okay, that's why we're going to leverage Advantage Shopping Plus campaign. Before going into all the setup here, something that I want to highlight is that 90% of the budget is going to be invested into prospecting campaign, while 10% into retention campaign. Retention campaign is to bring back existing customers, and of course this applies only if you have a good email marketing system, so a good like backend that it keeps selling your products to your existing customers. Otherwise, this budget might be a little bit higher. Now, let's go into the prospecting phase. So for the prospecting, we should have one Advantage Shopping Plus campaign for content type. So one specific for videos, one for static, and one for dynamic catalog. Each single ad set should be 0% budget invested into existing customers, and this is like a simple setup that you can do while you build the campaign itself. Each single Advantage Shopping Plus should have between 6 and 12 ad creatives. So between 6 and 12 videos for the video Advantage Shopping Plus, and 6 and 12 statics for Advantage Shopping Plus. There is as well another one for catalogs, and we want to have between 2 and 5 catalog. Now, one catalog with the top 20% of products that are generating 80% of revenue, if this applies. One catalog for all the products, and then one catalog for each collection. This can be ideally 3, like the top 3 collections, or the top 3 like product type, like rings, necklaces, and so on. Why we're doing this split? Okay, the reason why we're doing this split is because most of the times, 99% of the times, Meta is spending most budget towards video ads rather than static images, even though the return on ad spend is higher for static images. And this doesn't depend on scalability, but depends on engagement. Usually videos, they have a higher engagement, so Meta itself has more KPIs to evaluate, like the watch time, the scroll stopper, the hold ratio, and also videos usually gets higher amount of like comments, likes, shares, and so on. For this reason, we need to split them, and this allows us to don't rely on this, like fully rely on Meta for this, because this actually doesn't work very well. And the same things apply for catalog. Usually when you run an Advantage Shopping Plus campaign and you put all the creatives inside, including the catalog, so you mix catalog with statics and videos, you will see that Meta spends like 90% of the budget into catalog, even if they don't actually generate any sale at all. And so for this reason, we need to split them. Then we have one retargeting campaign where we have a CBO in this case, and we have 3 different ad sets. One ad set targeting add to cart last 90 days, excluding purchases. Another ad set targeting website visitors last 60 days, excluding add to cart and purchases. And another one, ad set number 3, targeting engagers, Facebook and Instagram engagers, last 14 days, excluding website visitors and purchases. And each single of these assets should have these creatives inside. So at least one dynamic catalog, between 3 to 6 statics, and between 3 to 6 videos. The ad creatives here should not be broad about like your USPs and all those things. You should focus on reviews, testimonials, discount, and offers. Now, a lot of people nowadays say that retargeting on Meta doesn't work, but that's not true. And it's true that those campaigns, the Advantage Shopping Plus, will automatically do the retargeting. But these Advantage Shopping Plus campaigns are going to have inside different type of videos, different type of messaging. And so they don't always find the best messaging for the retargeting, okay? For this reason, we want to have this splitting. And we're going to focus specifically on this messaging. In this way, we can also control more the budget that we put towards retargeting. Of course, if you're just starting out, like completely starting from scratch, then this doesn't apply. You don't have to run retargeting because you don't have any retargeting audience. And this one we're going to put in CBOs. Ideally, the size of this audience should be kind of similar to each other. You can expand more the days if the size really is very different between each other, because if the size of the audiences is very different, then usually Meta will prioritize spending towards the biggest audiences. That's why I try to keep them very similar with the days, like play more with the days basically. Now, this review, testimonial, discounts, and offers that you have here can also be used inside the Advantage Shopping Plus. But the creatives they use inside the Advantage Shopping Plus, they are more like broad, USP, and more like messaging for like more top of funnel, more like cold audience. You don't have to use them here because people don't need to know them anymore, because they already know about it, because you already expose them with the ads. And Yes, and this is the thing. And then we have the fifth campaign, which is a retention campaign, CBOs. I like doing this split here. So we have two different ad sets. One, purchase all times, excluding the last 14 days purchases. You want to exclude using Pixel, Klaviyo, manual list, and everything. If you have Klaviyo, you need a manual list, you can just use Klaviyo. And then you have the ad set number 2 where you have purchase last 14 days. And here, this is quite tricky, because what you want to do here, you want to use the creatives that are pushing for flash promos or like buying more, because those people already bought something from you and probably they're still waiting for the product to arrive. For this reason, you can leverage their buying mindset, their buying mode, to sell them even more things. It's more like a post-purchase upsell kind of thing, or cross-sell. The only difference is that in this case, you don't do it within the website, but you do it on Meta. And so the creatives that you need to have between this ad set here and this ad set here should be different, of course, because because this one here focus on new products and offer, and this one should focus just on a special offer, like flash offer, buy more products, thanks for buying from us, buy more products, get this discount. This discount is going to be available for the next 14 days. After 14 days, they're going to leave the audience, they're going to go to ad set number 1, so they're not going to see the promo anymore. And then you can have one Advantage Shopping Plus campaign for each, two Advantage Shopping Plus campaign for each promo or festive you do. So let's say you do some Valentine, cool. You can do one Advantage Shopping Plus campaign for this festivity, and then you have another one. The only difference is that the first one focuses on videos and images, so you can have videos and images inside the campaign, and then the second one can focus on catalog. So because we want to split the spending, and the reason why in this case we unify in one ad set videos and statics is because so what we notice is that when there is a promo, when there is a discount or something special, Meta tends to prioritize statics because the message is much more visible, and so the engagement is much different compared to videos. And usually most of the time you should only have statics, let's say, when there is like those kind of promo. But if you have video, the engagement gets balanced with the number of clicks that the statics get, because the message is very clear, and so there is like equality in terms of like engagement priority. So you're not gonna have problem in terms of like budget attribution because of the engagement. But if you put the catalog, you're still gonna have it. For this reason, we need to have another Advantage Shopping Plus campaign which is using only the catalog. Okay, because unfortunately with catalogs the budget allocation always go there. It doesn't matter what kind of campaigns you're running. So some notes here: the creatives inside the retargeting campaigns can also be included inside the prospecting campaigns if those are applicable. Like you don't want to run a flash sale there that you're running, for instance, in this one here. But if you have a new promo or new offer, you can still run them into the Advantage Shopping Plus they use for prospecting. And the landing page you need to use is the most relevant to the content that you're running. So if you run an ad for a specific product because there is a specific reason behind the product, so you want to push the product for a specific reason, cool, the landing page is going to be the product page. If you're running ads that are more general or are focusing specifically on a collection, then of course you need to drive traffic to that collection. So for single product, image or content creatives in general, you drive traffic to the product page. For collection creatives, so for creatives that are about a specific collection, you drive traffic to the collection page. And for general ads about the brand, general products, or products like different combine of things, then you can drive traffic to the home page. But the rule that applies is drive traffic to the most relevant page, to the ad that you're running. And then you want to refresh creatives every 1 or 2 weeks based on frequency. This means that sometimes you will see higher frequencies, especially in the retargeting campaign. And if this frequency goes very high, you might need to refresh creatives. And when you refresh creatives inside the retargeting campaign, you can also refresh them inside the prospecting campaign and vice versa. Because as I mentioned before, some content might be similar to each other. And cool, this is basically the strategy for getting started. Here you're gonna start seeing like a 3 ROAS, like it depends also on your target. And once you're ready to scale more, keep in mind that the ROAS is going to decrease a little bit. You go into the second scenario, so the second phase, let's call it, which is between 10 and 50k a month. If you're already in this stage, then you can just look into this scenario directly. So this is optimized for return on spend and for scalability, because in this case we have higher budget, so we can actually scale. And then For this reason, we're going to include cost caps and bid caps. Okay, let's start from the budget allocation. As you can see, the budget allocation is the same. We have 90% on prospecting and retention, same as scenario 1. The only difference is the campaign setup. So in this case, we need to have 4 campaigns for prospecting. 1 campaign for testing that can be either a CBO or an ABO. And then you want to scale winners if it's an ABO. If it's a CBO, you cannot scale winners directly here because Meta decide the spending for you. And so you move the winner directly into an Advantage Shopping Plus campaign. Now, even if you're running an ABO here, when you have winners, you scale the winners within the ABO. So this is the advantage kind of the ABO campaign. And you also duplicate the winner inside the Advantage Shopping Plus campaign that also are ready to scale. Feel free to test audiences as well inside this CBO or ABO campaign. What it means is that when you run tests, so every new test that you run is like a new ad set, and then you can each single ad set the test can be based on messaging, content type, content like if it's a static, if it's a video, if it's a carousel, if it's a catalog, if it's a UGC, if it's a professional, different messages, like all these things. And when you winner, you duplicate them inside the Advantage Shopping Plus. Just make sure to use a post ID. It is important because all the ads will keep the engagement. And if you keep them running inside the testing campaigns of the ABO, and then also inside the Advantage Shopping Plus, they will collect the same engagement. But if you duplicate without the post ID, the engagement will be divided. And as you probably know, probably is actually quite easy to understand, is that the engagement helps with the conversion, because if an ad has like a lot of likes and comments, then people trust more the brand, of course. It's very normal. Like it's the same thing when you scroll on social media, then you see videos with like 20,000 comments, you're most likely to watch them, okay? And then the management, so ABO and CBO, really depends on how like you want to manage it. So ABO requires more management because you need to go turn off all the single ad set and so on. CBO requires less management, but usually the performance are kind of like, I don't want to say that are worse than the ABO, but the only difference is that you cannot really scale this campaign, because if you scale the CBO, which is also a testing campaign, like at one point, every time you put a new ad set to test, Meta will still allocate some budget into this, and sometimes you might allocate too much budget because maybe there is too much engagement, or like it's just a new ad they want to test, and so it will kind of ruin the optimization of like the budget allocation and everything. So some ads that are working well will see a dip in performance, not dip in performance, a dip in budget allocated, and then the entire campaign will suffer in performance. That's why we use ABOs ideally. But that's really up to you, because you're still gonna have the second campaign, which is the Advantage Shopping Plus campaign. Winners only. Winners, this is very important, are top spenders with the highest return on ad spend and highest purchases. So if you have one ad with 10 euros, $10 spent, and 10 extra ROAS, that's not a winner. If you have an ad with 4K spent, 3x ROAS, and like, I don't know, like 100 purchases, for instance, whatever, that's a winner, okay? And then you want to duplicate. Now, the same Advantage Shopping Plus, you can also test it with cost cap. And what you want to do with cost cap is test the different cost caps to start. So this is how to test cost cap. This is like a super fast example. Maybe I'm going to make another video about it, but 3 different ads, 3 different campaign. One cost cap equal to AOV, one cost cap equal to AOV minus 30%, and another one equal to AOV plus 30%. And once you find the best performing cost cap, then you want to create different ads, different cost caps, so different campaigns with different cost caps that are 20-30% above and below the winning cost cap. And why we do so, don't be scared if the cost cap is equal to the AOV, because Meta is not actually going to, so sometimes, actually most of the times, even though you use a cost cap which is equal to the AOV or even higher than your AOV, the ads are still going to be profitable, but this only applies if you're using winners. If you're not using winners, it's not going to apply. Meta still spend money, but then this is very risky, because you're telling basically Meta to spend $100 for each purchase, and you're making $100, so you're going to lose money. But if you have winners, what is going to happen is that you have content with high engagement, you have content that are working well, and then you have content where you're bidding higher than your competitors. And for this reason, Meta is going to give you the lowest possible CPMs. And for this reason, you're going to get a higher return on ad spend. And the actual cost per result is going to be let's say you put a AOV, let's say you put a cost cap of like 100, you can get consistently purchases for like 30, 40, okay? This is more advanced though, so it's kind of risky. If you want to do it by yourself, don't do it, because you will burn your money. Like, it's very, 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 kind of, don't want to say difficult, but you need to be careful, okay? Then you have one usual Advantage Shopping Plus campaign, dynamic catalog only, and direct targeting. So for the campaign, as I mentioned before, you want to have one ad set per content group, and you want to exclude all the existing customers. For the Advantage Shopping Plus campaign, 0% on existing customers, and for the dynamic catalog, Advantage Shopping Plus, again 0%. Same setup for the others. For the Advantage Shopping Plus, you can have mix between videos and statics, because those are winners, so we're not gonna have any problem. And any problem in terms of like budget allocation, because Meta is going to split the budget equally, because all the content are winners. So even though there is a video that gets a high engagement and the static image gets low engagement, Meta still will spend money on the creatives, because in the past, so in the other campaign, that static ad get a low budget allocated, and so the balance, like there is a balance between spending and so the engagement that the video gets. So it's gonna be kind of equal, and Meta is not gonna be saying, oh, this video is getting more engagement, so I'm gonna put more budget into this one, because those are like already proven winners, so already proven spenders, okay? Especially if you use the post ID. And then for this classic CBO, you wanna test 4 to 8 creatives per each ad set. The retargeting stays the same to the phase 1, to the scenario number 1, and the retention also stays the same. And same things applies for the festivity. And of course, in this case, you have higher budget, so you need to play things with higher budget. Something very important to mention here is that you don't have to invest more than 20 to 30% into the testing campaign. If you do more, if you invest more, you're not gonna optimize the account for return on ad spend. Okay, so you need to be careful on how much you test. And usually the problem is that you don't test enough when you have winners. So when you find winners, don't rely on those winners, because they're gonna die at one point. You need to keep testing so you can switch things. And this is how you keep consistency inside the ad account. If you don't do this, you're not gonna keep consistency. It's gonna be a mess, because you will find yourself in a situation where you don't have winners anymore, and then you have only test content. Then you're gonna have like 70% of the budget into the testing. Okay, so this is gonna be a problem. And yeah, so this is it. Same notes. And something that we need to mention here, which is done in this very ugly graph, is that now they're spending more budget. The lifespan of each creative is lower. So what is going to happen is that you launch a creative, starts with the spending, so the spending goes up, ROAS increase, ideally, cool, you have an average on spend, let's say is 2, stays steady, goes up and down between, let's say 1.7 and 2.5, but the average is 2. At one point it's going to drop. This time, okay, this time here, okay, on which the creative stays consistent, is different. It is much shorter in this scenario, because you're spending more money, and so there is most likely like you're gonna reach the potential audience much faster compared to the scenario number 1. And so for this reason, you need to test more content and much more frequently compared to the, like in this scenario number 2, we're spending more money compared to scenario number 1. Now, there is no specific let's say quantity, because it really depends on the budget. Like if you're spending 10k a month, you should test a specific amount of content. If you spend 50k a month, you should test on a specific amount of content. But the amount of content also depends on frequency, and also on like how good or well your existing ads goes. So in terms of like testing, so like I ideally, and also how many content group you're testing, because the budget is going to be split a lot, like across all of them. And so for this reason, you should test creatives frequently on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, ideally weekly, and consider to run between like 10 to 20 new creatives a week in this scenario number 2, and it can be like 5 to 10 in this scenario number 1, just to give you some very, very, very random numbers, but those should be unique creatives. So if you have variations, those don't count. Okay, and yeah, so this is basically it. and let me know if you have any question in the comments, and feel free to reach out to me on IG if you need help with your brand. And yeah, that's it. I'm gonna see you in the next video.